Welcome to Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing from the legendary Unadilla Valley Sports Center in upstate New York. It's a retro weekend celebrating 40 years of racing at the famed circuit. It's also one of the toughest races on the track, and it leads to some exciting racing. As proof, we'll give you the highlights. First, a 250 class. In Moto 1, Martin Davilo is going to get the start on the KTM, but it wouldn't last. Soon, Christophe Pourcel would bulldog his way around and simply take off. Pourcel in Moto 1 at a completely different level than everyone else, leaving some amazing racing behind him. You had Jake Weimer in the hunt. You had Davalos. You had Justin Barcia and Blake Wharton, Ryan Dungey, and Austin Stroop coming back from injury, all duking it out. Ryan Dungey's the one battling Pourcel for the championship. He'd make the passes he would need to make, getting around Weimer finally to move into the number 2 spot. But by then, the damage was done. Pourcel was gone. Weimer holds on for third, and that's Moto 1 of the 250 class. Dungey looking for a better start in Moto 2. He has the inside gate, but as you see, Pourcel's able to get in front of him, hold the line, and get the whole shot in Moto 2. And no surprise, Pourcel checked out again, just at a completely different level than everyone else in the 250 class today. He would roll to a dominant 1-1 performance. Dungey had a few bad lines on lap 1, actually went as far back as 7th. He'd have to work his way past riders like Barcia and Stroop and Wharton and Weimer. But by the end of the day, the fitness of Dungey would win out. He would finish second, but he'd give up 6 points to his championship rival, Pourcel, who was simply on another planet. That's your 250 class. Pourcel's going to hold the points lead and be the only rider with a red plate at our next race at Budds Creek. Let's go to the 450s. In Moto 1, familiar name getting the whole shot, Alessi. Jeff Alessi. Davey Millsaps would put the pressure on. Then Alessi would crash hard on lap 2. Millsaps would have the lead. Chad Reed was back outside the top 5. He'd move his way up to second and then start chipping into the big lead that Millsaps had. For Retro Weekend, Millsaps was running a 1995 Jeremy McGrath lookalike Honda. It looked good while he was out front, but it wouldn't last. Reed would be able to make the move and run away with the Moto win. Then Tommy Hahn on the motorsport.com Canada Kawasaki would also get Millsaps for second, but Millsaps hung tough to take third in Moto 1. Moto number 2, it's Justin Brayton in the KTM battling for the whole shot with Andrew Short. Brayton would get the start. Short would get around him. Short, running on the 1986-inspired Honda motif, would lead the first couple of laps. But then there's Chad Reed in the 22, the shark in the waters. He would get around Brayton. Then he would get around Short. And by the halfway point, it was obvious Chad Reed was going to go 1-1 again and further extend his championship points lead. Yet Ivan Tedesco on the 1974 Honda, Elsinore-looking Honda in the hunt. He was up there battling with Short and Brayton, as well as Michael Byrne. It was a tough moto for Tommy Hahn, who would end up 16th after an early crash. When it was all said and done, Reed had himself a moto victory, an overall win, joined to the podium by Andrew Short and Michael Byrne. That's your racing from Unadilla. We'll catch you next week from Budds Creek. Remember, we'll be live on NBC at 3 p.m. Eastern next Saturday. Or just be there in person for more Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing.